Okay, we are now live. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the JR Wisdom channel. Coming to you with another live stream here. I haven't done one of these in a while. I have a special guest tonight. Many of you may know her from other live streams. Shout out to O'Shea. Special guest tonight is Miss Jemmy. Go ahead. Jimmy has been obviously involved in live streams within the manosphere. Many of you, like I said, many of you probably know her, but for those of you who don't know her, Jimmy, if you want to yourself, or if you have anything to say before we jump into this.
Not really. I'm Jimmy, and he basically introduced me. So, hey.
Mm, that's it. Okay, well, I this topic right straight to the point. I hear you. This topic right here, right? I've been meaning to do this for a while, and I know there was a chat similar to this that fits within this arena, so to speak, of what we're talking about, and that is, do women prefer dumb guys or do they prefer intellectual men? So I'm just going to start out. I'm going to ask you, Jimmy, because I obviously, I know you're very opinionated. For those of you who follow Jimmy, and we'll get into that, she has a pretty good following on social media, Facebook. Um, she has some opinions on this as well, which a lot of people, you know, I wouldn't say tend to find it controversial, but I just want to hear your opinion just to start out on this subject, Jimmy. If you could just, what do you, as far as you personally and as far as women go, what do you, how do you feel about this?
Well, I guess I would have to say, what is dumb? Because then you would have to kind of define what dumb is.
Right.
Are we saying like low IQ level, or are we talking about a person who is just like, and they don't know what Jim Crow laws are. They don't know like what's going on in the world. Like, is that dumb? Like they're so caught up in like social media or reality TV type stuff, or Young Thug, and they're caught up in the things of this pop culture type world. Not knocking pop culture at all, but there's some people um, that are just in agreement with um, the monotony of life, meaning the average things, meaning they don't think for themselves. They're like programmed, like they think and agree with everything that social norms are, and they never question them. That's what I would kind of consider. I'm being I don't want to be mean, but yeah, I would consider that a person who can't think for themselves is being dumb.
Well,
Yeah.
Jimmy, I mean, as far as we're the antonym of an intellectual. That's what I mean. Like someone, everything you just described, someone that's not current on events, someone who's not educated per se. And I mean, as far as educated, they're not even self-educated.
Right.
You know, they have no concern about education, the outside world, contemporary issues. That's what I mean. And I think you defined it pretty well. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now, usually people, I believe that usually people tend to grasp to like-minded people. So I would say a woman who would like a quote unquote dumb person would already be on the same level as him anyway, as of why they would relate. So usually that's what kind of happens. I mean, we'll find certain people that, like, say, an intellectual woman who's been to college, or self-learned or whatnot, knowledgeable.
Right.
Um, if she grasps to someone who may not be knowledgeable and who just cares about um, getting money and all the, like, just getting
Right.
money all day, all the little ignorant things. Because most people that say they getting money really ain't getting money. They just saying it, but like a bum or whatever.
Right.
Usually she probably came out of that type of environment of why she would grab or be attracted to that, because sometimes people come from environments that aren't what they are at the moment, meaning they came from it, but they can be educated, they can have corporate jobs and still be with men that are not on the same level as them intellectually or on achievements,
Right.
um because they came from that type of household, so they grasp to the things that are behind them instead of reaching for a person who might be on their level, because it might be intimidating to them, because someone who who like for instance, like say if a person, their family comes from a group of educated people, like there's certain etiquettes that people and codes and um that people operate by, that a person who might be new into the fold may not know how to operate in those things, so it could be intimidating because it's new to them to be in those type of circles.
Okay. So being said, because I know you haven't answered yours per se, and I'm gonna let you live for now. But I know we discussed this offline, but there are many attractive women who tend to go for uh as you call them thuggies, and who really don't have anything to offer them or any type of knowledge to impute in them, and they're just living for the day, just passing through, you know, basically, or they may just have that sex appeal, or may just be handsome.
Right.
That's all. Why is that? What, from a woman's perspective, why is that?
Because that woman probably is looking at all the stereotypes of things that she sees in mainstream media, as far as like um hip hop culture, like this image that is displayed, and then a lot of young men who may not have good role models mark themselves after, and maybe that's what she's used to. She's accustomed to that, so therefore she's attracted to that because she's accustomed to
So what do you prefer? What's your preference? Go ahead.
it. What, on those ends of the spectrum between a dumb
On that,
and an
both of those,
intellectual man?
yeah. Do
I
you? I mean,
I
what do
definitely
you fit?
I definitely prefer a intellectual person. For the simple fact of the matter is, um, and see, there's a difference, because like to be humble and be intellectual and not to be high minded, because
Right,
there's a balance.
right,
Because it's some people that are so smart that they're stupid, meaning
right.
they lack common sense, because they think they know everything, book knowledge wise. And some things in life is not always book knowledge. Some things in life does not follow the patterns that men have traced in time. Like there's things that go
Right.
outside of that spectrum. So yeah, I'm attracted to a man that I can learn from. Because I would want to be around somebody that can teach me something, and vice versa. Like, so yeah.
So, but have you traditionally dated those men? These
What do you
intellects,
mean?
like traditionally, these are the men you prefer. But what I'm asking you, I'm sorry if this is a personal question. Have you traditionally dated these intellectual men? Is what I'm asking.
Yes, actually, yes. I can say majority, because it's funny, because I had a conversation with my mom. Like, there's only been like two. Mm,
Dummies.
no, not dummies. They weren't even dumb.
Oh, okay.
Like, even if they weren't college educated, like all the guys that I've ever dated had college education.
Right.
Um, One of my exes graduated, and I'm not gonna say it right. I already know. How do you? Yeah, whatever. I'm not
Summa
top of his
cum laude.
class.
Or something?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Um,
I'm with you.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I just can't say it right. And usually, like, I don't know, doctor's degrees, master's degrees. I don't know. That's just been. I don't have a doctor's degree. I don't have a master's degree. I didn't even finish my college education.
Right.
However, though, I stay studying. I stay
Right.
like researching and looking at historical events. I stay learning. Um, and it was funny because my mom was like, "You never really, you never dated a guy that's a thug or whatnot." I mean, I may have dated, I think maybe one person that came out of that lifestyle, but they weren't that anymore. They still were smart. You know what I mean? Like that's what they
Right.
were. Like they did that at one point in time and they matured and grew up. And, you know, like I think that was just like that one person.
Yeah,
But
because I
other than
believe.
that, like,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll cut you off.
Yeah, other than that, for the most part, yeah,
I think
smart
some of
guys.
the most intelligent individuals though are street oriented individuals for the most part. There's nothing wrong with college. I have no issues with people who are college educated, but people who are street oriented, a lot of times they are self educated. Hence the Malcolm X's and other. Not to say that every street individual is like Malcolm X, but this man was one of the most intelligent men walking this earth, and he was
Absolutely.
self educated. But I find, and I always say this on social. I used to make posts like this all the time. I find that for some reason, a woman prefers a dumb guy, a dumb man. You know what I'm saying? Like, not, I'm not, I don't mean a yes man by that, but I just mean like a man who just, he's basically for a specific purpose, whether it be uh sex or, and I say like you, and I think you mentioned it's a lot of young minded women, but there are some women who just prefer a certain type of guy, and a lot of times these guys are not necessarily, and this is the biggest thing what I always say on my channel to women: at least get with a guy who imputes some type of knowledge or who can teach you something. Don't
Right.
just,
Absolutely.
because I'm in a I have a side business, and a lot of people who follow my channel, they know this. I'm in the financial, credit building, things like that. And the majority of my clients are women.
Mm.
And it's rare that you come, and this is just me, a lot of people like disagree. It's rare that you come across a woman who is not actively involved with someone. It's very rare. No matter what she says, she's single at the end of the day. Yes, she's single. But a lot of these women are the ones trying to get, established, or trying to buy that house, trying to buy that car, but they have a man that's actively in their lives, but he's not making that push, or he's not, which is what I hear a lot of women want from a man, is they just want a man that can protect them and motivate them. The motivation is one of the biggest things. But I find that a lot of women are with men who really can't teach them anything, and they're kind of like struggling. It's like the blind leading the blind. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that the woman's blind, but a
Yeah,
man's
I
supposed
get
to
what
be leading
you're
the way.
saying.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because a man without a vision can't be a leader
Right.
for real. If he don't have a vision for his life, where is he gonna lead them? So where is he gonna lead? So absolutely, I agree with what you're saying. I get it. What I was gonna say too is that just because somebody is book smart doesn't mean that they're not street smart either.
Exactly.
So just because they never been a gangster, you know what I mean, don't mean that they just some sucker.
Right.
Like that they stand up for themselves, that they don't know how to, be a man. That's false. Cause even yeah, like when I was saying like the guys that I've dated, they wasn't no sucker, no pushover. They wasn't, you know what I mean? But they wasn't out there on the streets doing crazy
Right.
stuff, you know,
So with these,
that I
from what, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What you say?
that I know of. Huh?
Okay. No, I think we were like talking at the same time. Go ahead though. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said it already. It wasn't that important.
Okay. Somebody wanted me to describe. Shout out to Char Willie. She wanted me to describe what is dumb for people in the chat room, and I'm gonna just kind of like go off of what you said, and I'm not gonna say it as eloquently as you said it, Jimmy. But for everyone who's just not entering the chat room, what I mean by dumb is
Want me to go with you?
what I mean by dumb is a person, a man who basically has no concern about improving himself, furthering his knowledge, has no concern about, what's going on around him in the world, has no concern about contemporary events, as in DMX said in Belly, fuck a book, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. He's basically has no desire to increase his knowledge, to improve himself, all things of that nature is basically what I mean. That's what I mean by dumb. You know what I mean? It really can't impute any type of anything into a woman other than offer her sex at the end of the day. That's pretty much the only thing that he's really bringing to the table. So as far as that, that's what I mean. I think, like I said, Jimmy said it more eloquently than I did. But yeah, so I'm trying to think where we're at. But anyway, I was going to ask you, Jimmy. Now, in these relationships that you were in with these gentlemen, were were you like leading the relationship, or were they leading the relationship in your estimation, in your opinion? Look at that face you're making. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness. Hey
Because
man, I'm asking.
it wasn't about who was leading. We just wanted to see each other and we spent time together. It wasn't about that. It
Okay,
was
so y'all hadn't met. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it wasn't about that. It was like mutual respect and, you
Mm,
know, that type of thing.
mutual respect. So you
I mean,
got.
yeah, I wouldn't disrespect them as a man, you know. So it's just, yeah, they didn't work out for different reasons. All, the ones that, whatever. Yeah,
Didn't work out for different reasons.
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Not to
So.
say that they weren't, because the one that graduated top of his class. The reason why we didn't work out is just the fact that it was certain things like awesome person,
Hmm.
certain that I seen that I knew um wouldn't have been good. So just to put it that way. But as what he wanted to do as a provider, as a man, awesome.
Right.
Um, everything, like, he's an awesome person. I would always speak highly of him. Awesome, because we grew up together actually. And
Oh. Okay.
yeah, he's an awesome person. So yeah, and yeah, there's nothing but love still.
Do you
But
find do you find these men more controlling?
what do you mean?
These intellectually inclined men, and I know that's what you said you mostly did. Do you find them more on the controlling side, or as far as your relationship that you have with them?
No,
No.
no. Mm-mm.
Cool. Everybody
Not,
wants to know about. Everybody's like, wants to know about. They think you're deflecting, Jimmy, and I'm like,
how am
I
I deflecting?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you're deflecting. You're answering the questions, but I guess a lot of people's like, they were saying that in the other chat too about, yeah, Jimmy never answers the questions. I think you're doing not doing
Yeah,
a
I think I answered very clear. You asked if if any of the guys that were intellectual that I dated, in my experience, were they controlling? I said no. So I think that's directly answering the question because that's my experience. There's nothing deflecting about that. I didn't hop to another subject. right?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just reading.
What
I'm reading the chat. I
that
don't know if you can see the chat.
deflect means? Yeah, they need to learn what deflect means. That's what they need to learn before they say use a word.
Right. No, I'm just reading. I'm just reading the stuff in the chat. So, top three things for you, Jimmy,
Hmm.
as far as a man go. What it is that you're
Okay.
looking for in a man. Obviously, you're looking for an intelligent man, or not looking for, but that this is what you're looking for if you're dating a man in particular. So top, we already covered one, but yeah, top three things that you're looking for as far as you know.
But see, when you say you know, for me though, I'm about to define intelligence even more,
Go for it, baby.
more
Go
so.
for it. Let me hear it. Yeah.
Because the simple fact, remember I said you can be book smart and still be dumb.
Right.
Like meaning not know how to apply the knowledge or walk there in it. Um
Mm-hmm.
or know how to maneuver with the day-to-day life. So I will say that for me, um for a man, uh is a must, is that spirituality is most important. That's key.
Okay.
That he has a stable ground and not just head knowledge, because the simple fact of the matter is who gives downloads of information is God Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's crazy because a lot of people will try to dispute the Bible, but in that Bible is so many things that are scientific. And who else could tell you about the functionality of the world and the functionality of the things that happen in reality? And it's crazy because
We're gonna have
the
to do it.
dynamics of
Another one on this. But go ahead. Go ahead. We're gonna have to do another one on this. Jimmy. I want to hear this.
yeah. And so like the dynamics of people who say that like this Bible is fantasy, which is crazy because they just can't understand the things of the nature of the Bible that defies our mental capacity to even conceive it as possible. But if but I'm speaking more so of the gospel realm, okay? But there's things that are in Psalms that is actually scientific. Like Psalms was saying that the world was round before people, while people were saying it was flat. But hey, we're not gonna go into the debate of that either. But
No.
and it talks about the dynamics of the calendars. There's things that are in there that is so scientific. Even archaeologists refer to the Bible as timeline stamps. So it's crazy to me that people, we study cultures by it. We study a whole lot of things by that word. You know, so a person who, so like I said, intelligence to
Like
me
I
is
said, that's another. Yeah, that's another conversation because
uh
I want to jump. I
it
want to
is.
get on that because that's my realm, and everybody who's watching, who follows my channel, they know that's my realm. But we're gonna save that. I hear you. Definitely spirituality is what you're saying. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because intellect,
I'm sorry.
opening up of the mind, is very much so spiritual, and that's how new discoveries are made. Different things that are made are everything like that. That is definitely spiritual. um the will to the will to have drive is spiritual. It's a lot of attributes, you know that intelligent people have that is spiritual, like,
Right.
period.
Right.
um so you can't be intelligent and not be, you know what I mean, like true intelligence, and not be spiritual. And I'm not talking about a person who is just like, studied other intellectual people but deny the fact of, I'm not talking about that. Okay, I'm not talking about people that are, I'm not talking about that. But they're
Right.
intelligent in their own right, in comparison. And even still, they still got a spirit working in them, that because God can still move in people that don't believe, and people don't understand that either. So, but and He does still move in people that don't believe. Um, yeah. Let me get back on topic though, because I was kind of venturing off. But you asked me,
Yeah.
you asked
So
me
you said
about
we already got intelligence. We already got
specific
intelligence. So
my
you supposed.
my man. So I said spirituality, intelligence, those go hand in hand. That's important. But secondly, if a man is intelligent, then he knows how to treat his woman. Period. Too, because intelligence. The reason you making that face,
That's
intelligence.
but
Okay. And what I mean by that is intelligence is the ability to think, right? So if you thinking, you're thinking ahead, you're planning ahead. So a man who is intelligent, he'll plan ahead, he thinks ahead, and he acts accordingly to knowledge of his woman. So in that a man who treats me right and understands me, who tries to understand me, because I know you can't really just understand a person all the time, but those things are important. Treatment, understanding, knowledge of me, and walking in revelation, because a person can't steady keep a relationship if they don't know the relativity to you being in their life, the purpose of you being in their life. So he has to operate in a realm of revelation of who that woman is to him.
when you say revelations, all right, expound, please. I know you just said it, but when you say revelation of who that,
Revelation means to reveal, means to
I understand that.
reveal to.
I understand that, but you say I just want you to expound.
What do you mean? Oh, you want me to talk
You,
more about
yeah, you said revelation on. You said who that woman is.
who she is? Yeah, who she is to him. Meaning, um,
Expressing
like,
his feelings. What?
no, as of how he sees her. If he sees her as his wife,
Right.
ultimately, in a godly standpoint, he treats her as such. He acts as such because he sees that as far as his vision. And that's why I said a man can't really do much if he don't have a vision. If you start off a relationship and you're like, I don't know what you are to me, then you on shaky ground. How much is a person who's like, yeah, I know who you are, and I'm going and in confidence, like, yeah, I'm gonna treat you as such, and we gonna do as such
Mm.
together. And she's in agreement. So hello, you're going somewhere. So yeah.
So if I start, and I'm just throwing this out here, right? Supposedly, when a man findeth a wife, he findeth a good thing.
Right.
So if I, you know, am dating Jimmy, and I already say, Jimmy, I want you to be my wife, right? Because I already know, right? I already know. Is that would is there a timestamp for that? Since I'm going off what you're saying right now, I already know. I know who I am, right? I know who I am, and from what I've seen in you, I know who. Well, I believe I know who you are, and I know that I want you to be my wife. Is there a certain time frame for this?
No, I don't think that people have. No, there's not a time frame on that. It's
I'm
according
not
to.
talking about people. I'm talking about you.
Oh, but look how you pointed. Look how you point. I'm talking about you.
I'm talking about you, Jimmy. Let's hear it.
Um, it's what my spirit is in agreement with. Like, first of all,
Mm.
there's still natural components that people must understand, because first of all, the natural, right? In the word, it says that if a man does not understand the natural things, he cannot conceive the things of the spirit. So therefore, natural things still have to be in place. Meaning, if there is really no drawn of attraction, I'm not talking about lust necessarily. No, I'm not talking about, because when you go when because lust, people, okay, let me slow down. Because when people conceive the word lust, they think of it in a negative way, when lust is really a neutral word. Okay, because you can lust after the spiritual giftings and spiritual things of God, and then there is lasciviousness, meaning like you're desiring sexual things that can become unnatural. So there's a difference. Lust is really a neutral word. It's not a bad word.
Right.
Anger is not a bad word either. Anger
No,
is
it's not.
actually a, a neutral word, because you can
Right.
be angry to the point of sin, and you can be angry in a righteous way. So I don't know, some words people just take and they think that they are just evil words. They're not. To be angry is not wrong. It's
Mm.
if you act in sin, anger. Lust is not a bad word, because actually the Bible says, the word of God says, for a woman to lust after her husband, for a husband to lust after his wife. So in that context, it's holy. So but back to it, like um ultimately that person has to be in agreement with whatever revelation is present, because maybe she may not be in knowledge to know that that person is for her. So therefore it would have to take the time, whatever it is, for that to take place. So that man, that's why a man is natural for a man to court a woman. That's why it's that way, because man is the head, so therefore he gets the vision first, and that's why he has to court the woman in order for her to come into that knowledge too. Because sometimes she's not leading; he is at that moment, but because he's moving in knowledge that he knows that this woman is his wife, because or desires her to be his wife, shall I say? So
Mm.
therefore, he moves in accordance to that,
Do you
because
think a
God will
lot of
never
Go ahead, Jimmy. I'm
what
sorry.
I would say, because God will never. That's two things too. Like I actually agree with this, because I was watching. I don't know if you know who Miles Monroe is. I watch a lot of his teachings too, and I actually was in agreement with this, for the simple fact of the matter is because God is sovereign. He will never go
Absolutely.
over our. Huh? What'd you say?
I said absolutely.
God is
Absolutely.
sovereign, right? He will never go over our will, meaning the things that we want to do. Like that's just like salvation, right? You have to, if you believe, that's something that you surrender your life to. Just like when a person chooses to marry someone, God is not going to say no, you can't, because that's your, you have that right. And that's two things that God will never come in the midst of. Like he ain't gonna come in between your choice of that, the choice of salvation, or the mate that you choose. That's your choice.
Let me ask you this, Jimmy. Do you think, and you just spoke on this earlier, that's why I'm asking this. Do you think many women have this, or they lack this gift of discernment of choosing the proper mate or choosing the proper husband? Something like this, like probably a couple of minutes ago, about having that discernment, this ability to be able to choose the right mate or the right husband. Obviously, this is outside of lust or knowing who is right for them.
Ooh,
Come on
okay.
now, lay it on me now. Come on now, don't stall
Um,
me.
I'm not, because it's
Right, y'all stay
twofold.
on the West Coast. Don't stall me out. Don't stall me out.
No, it's twofold to that. Um, what is twofold is because one, I just lost my train of thought real quick. Hold on.
We talking about the discernment of women choosing or knowing the proper man to choose, or
Okay,
do
one
they
is
know who's right for them?
one is options. In this day and age, I'm gonna look at it from a realistic standpoint. There are men that go to church, yes, but not as many as women that go to church. So therefore, the options are few for women, as far as a man that is really going to church and seeking God. Not to say I'm not discounting men. I'm not doing that by no means, but it's just reality. Um, a lot of men aren't in these churches. A lot of men aren't in their rightful place, as far as like serving God. So the options are not a lot of options for some of these women. So they, you know, do what they do with the men they go after, because they just don't want to be alone.
Do you think that's a problem in the black community as far as this? Women.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, yes. And I was gonna say another aspect too is that sometimes when you know when someone is presenting information to you, like say a man is presenting information to a woman, he'll tell her all these sweet nothings of what he wants and all the things that they're going to do. And, sometimes she just, because we're emotional, and I'll be real with that. Like when a woman, he's saying to her her own desires, you
Mm,
know,
exactly.
well, sometimes because most women want the same things when you break down the simple things of a family, like to build. She wants a provider, she wants a protector, she wants a man that pleases her. So
Right.
those three things are basic. You know, um, so you know, it's unfortunate that that does happen. A lot of times men will come in a woman ear talking and saying all these things that that she wants to hear, and then later on he becomes this whole nother beast of a man, and she's like, whoa, whoa.
What do they call it? A representative? Is that what they call it?
uh, I don't
See,
know.
this is why, yeah, this is what I just learned this recently. You put your representative, when you meet someone and all this stuff like that. And this is why I say courting, what you said, the way they used to do it, is so important. And the intervention as far as the marriage process of a male to be involved. This is what I like about Islam. Islam does this. As far as marriage goes, the male or the guardian male, they interview, the guy who's courting or the guy who wants to, basically like a father. How they used to do back in the day. A father's going to you want my daughter's hand. I'm going to see what do you have planned? What do you have to offer my daughter? Do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you have what kind of job do you have? Blah blah blah. All of this before you even date my daughter. So I think a lot of times that is one of the things that is lacking. It's not one of the things that go on anymore so much, but that's definitely one of the things that is lacking in the black community, so to speak, is there's not
Man,
that guardian that knows. Because a woman, not to say she doesn't know what to look for in a man, but a man definitely knows what a woman should be looking for in a man. I.e., if my daughter, I know what a good man is, as opposed to this lip service, as you said, whispering sweet nothings and pillow talk and being a politician and all this other stuff. And he transforms, overnight. But you were about to say something. I'm sorry.
what I don't know if you notice what you're saying is in that culture there is an accountability, man to man,
Absolutely.
meaning a man being accountable to another man in a righteous way,
Absolutely.
in a right. It's unfortunate within our culture that whoredom is praised, meaning within men praise other men and their whoredom. They're like, oh yeah, you got over on her, yeah, you got it, you didn't even have to do this for you to get it, and they're praising each other as they're taking advantage of women. Like, wow. It's it's it, it's 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 um it's not productive to a society. It's not productive. What it does is damage. It actually
Right.
perpetuates a cycle of women raising children without a father in the home, because a man is not even accountable to another man, and another man ain't even holding him accountable to that woman to treat her right, but
Hmm.
okay with mistreatment. That's not cool.
Okay. We got a question for you, Jimmy. Want to get your opinion on this. Somebody in the chat asked, and I think you might have answered this, but just for clarification, what age do you believe a spiritual man is ready for marriage?
I don't believe that there's really even an age mark on that. I know that sounds crazy, but
I'm with you. Go ahead.
it's because you said for a spiritual man, it's about
Hmm.
maturity. Are you ready? Because some people are ready to bear that weight. And when I say weight, not a bad
Right.
thing. That's not a bad thing. It's just it's a weight, meaning that it's a responsibility with everything. Like when you're responsible to someone else and you're accountable, that's a weight. Even when you
Hmm.
come into knowledge, even in order to understand something, you come under that weight of what you understand, and you walk accordingly
Hmm.
because you came under that knowledge for real. So then you have understanding because you came under it. You came under it and said, "Yes, this is truth." So let me come under that truth. So therefore you have understanding. So it's the same thing in principle. Like it's not an age. It's if you ready, made that decision, and you can do it. Period.
I'm with you on that. I agree with you on that. As far as that, some people they think that which I see where they're coming from. That you should wait. A lot of people say wait till your 30s. Before you get married or stuff like that. Who's to say you're gonna live till your 30s? First of all. Second of all, if you find someone a good thing in a woman, what are you waiting for? And I think what you said, based on what you said earlier, I'm one of the few. I haven't watched too many people's channels, but I'm one of the few people that I'll tell and I tell the young brothers a lot of times too that multiple women will not bring you peace. If anything, that's a detriment to your lifestyle, and it's not going to make you any richer. You know what I'm saying? For 5 to 10 seconds of pleasure or whatever you want to call it. Even though I say that I will never get married again, I believe in marriage. You know what I'm saying? But and as hypocritical as that sounds, or whatever you want to call it, it's
It's
crazy
not
that
critical choice.
I believe in marriage, but I don't believe in the American process as far as marriage goes. I feel if you're happy with someone and you're in love with someone and you want to build with someone, then what are you waiting for? Is it because someone whispering in your ear telling you that you should have sex with X amount of women, X amount of women, then you get married? I don't follow that philosophy. I feel that if this is some a woman that you are, and this spirit, I'm not getting on the spiritual aspect, but if this is someone you want to be with, someone you want to build with, then I'm with you. There shouldn't be any age group, spiritual wise and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Or time.
Or time. You know what I mean? It's maturity level also. So I'm with you on that. But I guess people are asking, which I'm not gonna get it. Everybody wants to know. He's 21. You guys keep asking how old Jimmy is. Jimmy's 21 years old. All right. Jimmy is 21, and I know people want to like, well, has Jimmy ever been married?
No.
You know, or what's the hold up on Jimmy getting married? And I think you said this in the chat before. He said, "Stop the show, flag on the play." I think on a previous chat, I think I asked you that, and you said that you just haven't met that person yet, or something like that. I can't remember. It's been a while. You know what I mean? Appreciate it, Char Willie. She keeping the time on this or whatever. But yeah, and I guess these are questions people want. I guess are inquiring about Miss Jimmy. No, so she's never been married and she hasn't met the right person yet. So for all of you guys inquiring about, Jimmy's status, so you know what I mean. We're trying to make this a comfortable setting where it's uh you know a lot of y'all be like she's ducking and dodging the questions. I think if I don't know if there's any question y'all if y'all don't feel I'm asking her the right questions, but I
You
mean
want you want to know
this
the
is
uniqueness about me though, since
what's
they're
that?
diving into my personal life.
What's
Um,
up?
I'll be completely honest and open. Actually, I didn't start dating again until I was 28.
You didn't start
So,
dating, period, or
yep,
again?
again until I was 28. I stopped dating at 21.
Mm, okay.
Yep. So when I was up until 21, like I was hardcore. I was just like focused on spiritual things, focused like, you know. So not to say like I don't know how to. it's gonna sound crazy, but it's just like, I started dating when I was like 28. So yeah.
So you said at
So
21, that's when you got it. You got into the spiritual stuff at 21.
so like,
Okay, got
and I would not date. I would not, like, guys be trying to talk to me. I would not talk to them. I would not, like, none of that,
it.
because I was just like so focused. I didn't that like none of that mattered. Like marriage, none of that was important to me. So like I
So
don't know.
so you were finding yourself at that point, or what?
Well, I don't know if I was finding myself. Finding myself in
I mean,
God.
spiritually.
If you say that, I mean, you know, finding myself in
I'm not
God.
saying it.
Yeah,
I'm asking you. You know.
I suppose so. I never
Yeah.
thought about it. I never really thought about it. It's just that at that time, that's like I had like the person that I dated privy to that life. Um, like yeah, like I don't know. I just broke off the relationship. So it's
Okay.
just like, because I was just, it was just like, and it had something to do with like personal things like between me and God and my relationship with him. And it was just like, the things, the convictions of things that wasn't setting right in my spirit. So, and that's a whole nother thing. That would be more so of a testimonial thing.
Nah,
So that's
that's another one.
and yeah, so like that's more so like the journey. Sometimes we go through things in a journey of life, but from 21 to 28, I learned the concepts of a lot of things with like wisdom, like as far as like marriage is concerned, its rightful place, spirituality, what a husband is, what a wife is, and those things, you know, relate to our relationship with Christ. So yeah, and
I'm not to cut you off, but I got a somebody asked once. Somebody super chatted a question. They wanted to hear your opinion on this.
okay,
So, when are women accountable for their mating choices?
all the time. What do you mean? We're everybody's accountable for their choices all the time. You gotta own them. Like when I mess up and I make a mistake, like okay, when I said that I started dating at 28, right?
Right.
At that moment in that time, like yeah, I
Shout out
dated.
to
Huh?
shout out to shout out to Edward Anderson too. I forgot to say his name. Edward Anderson was asking that question on the super chat.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead. I'm sorry, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Um, I dated somebody I had no business dating. Period. And I'm not gonna go into everything and all like that whole experience. It's just like I just made a bad decision and I owned it. And it was so bad, like I even had to apologize to like my mom, like about this situation. Like it
So,
was
was
that
this a thug? Was this a thuggy? What's up? Was he a
I don't know
thuggy?
what I don't know what a spawn. I don't I don't know what it was. One of those
Was a hell
things like how
spawn?
I said, huh?
He was
It
a
was
hell
it was
spawn.
one of
What do you
those things.
think?
Nah, it was one of those things how I said like sometimes like women um like I experienced that for myself. Like I mean, let's just be transparent. Like I mean, I don't owe anybody anything. I
Yeah,
don't owe
keep it
anybody
keep
any
it gangster,
information
Jimmy.
about
Keep
my
it
life.
keep it gangster with me. That's all I ask of you.
Right.
Keep
No, I
it
know,
gangster.
but I'm gonna be transparent.
Yeah.
And out the fact of being transparent is like I made a bad decision based upon the fact, but how would I had known? I didn't even know until later. Um, but we were on the college campus together. I met him on my college campus.
Okay.
Yes. And he was studying to be a fireman. He had his books and everything to be a fireman. However, later on, I found out other things about his character, what type of person he was. And so later, I was kind of mad because I was like, wow, I didn't met all your family and they didn't tell me how you were
What was he?
until after,
Was he good with the
until,
fist? What's happening? I mean,
until after. Well, no, let's just say that he was like doing things that wasn't cool, like stealing like stealing, like, yeah, it was just like a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't want to go into details, but
I
just
mean, you don't have to go into detail. You can just give me a basically this. This is why this guy was,
right.
he was not a good dude. You could just say basically
No, not at
he
all.
was a thief.
Not at all. Character wise, not at all. Not at all. He was nothing of what I initially believed that he was. Period. And I didn't find out until later. And then when I found out like how that person was, I broke ties. Period.
Instead
I
of
just
remaining in that situation.
huh?
Instead of remaining in that situation.
Right. But I didn't, and I
Recognize
compromised.
once you recognize those signs and things like that,
Right.
you,
And it was hard. It was hard because
you
it huh?
I said you was
No,
in
I was
love.
saying I didn't.
Or you were in love, or
Well, no, 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 no.
okay.
It's just it's just the fact of uh, how can I explain this? Um, it's kind of like how when you're starving at the moment, like it's kind of like when you're starving sometimes, like because you in that aspect of your life you starved that part of your life, so that you gave up something so that you can
Right,
gain something. And so the
right.
fact that I walked in something prematurely, and so when I walked in something prematurely, I allowed the enemy, like and this person was not of God, meaning his spiritual, like, no, not of God, like the moral compass, he did not have that. So therefore, it was just like running amok, you know,
So did
later.
this trigger the 7 year sabbatical?
No, this was after.
This is after. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this
Go
was
ahead.
after. This was the first person I actually dated. But it was things that I know, and yeah, but that it's neither here nor there. I don't feel like going into backstories,
Okay,
all that other stuff. But you know, it just was a mess.
I get you, but I guess what who was it? Edward. I guess what, and I'm not saying I'm gonna read his mind, but we're gonna shift this towards like let's just say, which tends to be a big topic in the manosphere,
Mm.
is single mother, well, women who become single mothers because they choose gangsters or jailbirds or dudes who are sexually appealing but don't have anything going for them, and they don't blame themselves for choosing this guy who they know isn't shit at the end of the day, with a child or two or three or four or five, by the same guy who has no plans on being anything in life. I don't know. Like I said, Edward, I don't know if I'm, getting out of the lane, but I'm assuming that's what you were kind of like getting at also by saying when are women accountable for the guys they choose or whatever.
They're always,
But yeah,
and I'm saying that we are always accountable, men and women, for our own actions. We are all accountable. That's what I'm saying.
in
So
the grand scheme of things, but are women really accountable, or will
absolutely.
they
Well,
deflect
what do
or
you mean? Like,
defer and say it's not their fault?
well, the first
So
time.
it's
Well,
the
look.
guy's fault who's it's the guy's fault who tricked you into having sex and getting pregnant. You know.
Well, the first time, yes. The second time, no.
Okay.
First time, like I could see, like I give a pass on the first time, yes. Like yeah, they get a pass because they did not know. They honestly did not know. Just like,
Right.
do you know? Like people need to come to reality real quick. Um, there's people that exist on this planet, right? That are married to people who have double lives,
Right.
right? Their
Right.
husband has a whole nother set of a family. Is it
Hmm.
her fault that she does not know that? No.
That's how I was
Because
born. But go ahead.
maybe she trusts him. Maybe she really has faith in this man. So that man is actually accountable for his actions and his misbehaviors and his dishonesty and his trickery and his lies. He's responsible for that. So it's not that woman's fault for actually trusting her husband because she's supposed to do that. That is what she's supposed to do. When he says he's going to do something, when he says he's going to be somewhere, it is for her to trust that.
Mm.
She is in full right to trust that man. That is her husband. So, and in his duty, and in his it's his duty to uphold her in honor and not to dishonor her. So if he is doing something that is dishonorable, like lying, cheating, and those type of things, he is 100% accountable and is 100% foolish.
Well, let me ask you this, Jimmy. And this is, we talk. You see this. You see other. I mean, not to say that I'm completely in the manosphere, but you see this on social media. So, and we're saying this because this isn't a chat or an issue for everyone or every race. This is more for the African diaspora, or the the African American or the Black American. Do you think that Black women have a problem with accountability with actions? Do you feel that way?
I don't, to really be honest with you, um, I think that, okay, look, I really don't know how to answer that because you have to put it into some type of, because it's too open ended. One,
Right.
um, that I don't really know how to answer that because I feel like the place of African Americans in our home environments, and this doesn't mean, because I also know like families that are awesome Black families that both mom and dad are educated, raise children that are educated, private schools, they take care of their business together, they do, what I mean, like awesome homes. However, but there's problems in inner cities, okay? There's problems with poverty and lack, and we do know that the Black community is affected very strongly by Black men not even being available, period, because they're incarcerated. Our incarceration rate
Right.
is out of the gate, and a lot of the reason because a lot of those young men never really had a father, period, to father them, to give them
I,
structure. Hum.
no, I was just about to say, hold you. I just want to give a shout out real quick. Shout out Laquan Jones for
Oh,
that super chat, and shout out Idris, the great Idris Singleton. Shout out for the super chat. But yeah, you said they don't have a
a
good
father to a father to give them structure, um, and therefore, like women, it affects the women too because their fathers, and it's like you got to look at generational things too. So like in the inner city, a lot of people, their fathers have been incarcerated, so they're like women, their fathers wasn't there to father them. So like the
so it's the
interaction with
father.
men. Huh? Hmm?
So it's the father who, it's the lack of the father in the household as far as the parenting that may be leading to these issues.
Cycles is, yeah, it's cycles. It's like a
Okay.
vicious cycle. So like
Single parent.
now she's reaching to a guy that's just like her father, who's in and out of jail, who don't have no discipline at
Right.
all. And then what we have is people blaming each other. So it's like the women are blaming the men are blaming the women. And so we have this thing, and like, oh well, who's really accountable at this point? Well,
Right.
they're both accountable, but I would say more so who's more accountable. If a man is a leader, who would you say is more accountable? If we're saying, because listen, let's break it down even scripturally. Not to be like
Mm.
that, but scripturally, when the judgment came into the earth, who when did it come? When Adam partook. It didn't come when Eve partook. The judgment came when Adam partook, which means that he is the head. So therefore, the problems can be solved. A simple problem can be solved by men taking responsibility too. And it's like, only so much. Even men say this. Don't men say a woman can't raise a man to be a man? Only a man can raise a man to be a man, right? So if people abide by that and they think that and they agree with that, How is it that they cannot think that that it is man to solve the problem within the home, to actually be fathers, to take on the responsibility of manhood, and to look at manhood um
But
as a
how many
honorable
women are open to
place.
leadership, Jimmy? How many women are really open to the leadership of and at the end of the day, I get what we're going at. A man has to be in that leadership capacity. You can't just have a fool leading you to hellfire. But
Mm-hmm.
how many women are actually open to that without defiance? You know what I'm saying? I've encountered that, personally, as far as and I don't think I'm a person of bad judgment. I'm a single parent. I raise all three of my boys by myself. I have a daughter also, which her mother raises her, but I take care of her on the weekends. But when it comes to certain things, I think there are many women who are apprehensive or not up to, or don't readily, and I'm talking about black women here, not readily, wanting to have a black man take the lead or lead the family, or even when it comes to children that aren't theirs, don't even want the black man disciplining these boys, and that's why these boys coming up having issues answering to authority, especially the authority of a black man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, well, I would say in all problems, right? So if a problem, if there's a problem within the community, what what caused that problem? You have to look at what caused it. Is there distrust in them looking at men as being leaders in the home? Is there a distrust there? Is
Mm.
there, and why is there a distrust there? Are these women hurting? Have these women came from a background of hurt, of seeing a man dog out their mother, have or disappoint their mother? So we have to look at those things, and I think that a lot of it has to do with healing. So that means that, okay, well, if we both need healing, then that means that we must come from a place of love, understanding, and nurturing those wounds in order to say, you know what, I'm going to whatever this issue is in you, let's heal each other. Let's heal each other together, and that's a conscious decision to whatever it is that you need to maneuver to heal each other.
Hmm.
I believe that there is a lot of healing that needs to take place.
But how long is this going to take?
It until people come into and that has something to do with a knowledge too, because a lot of people don't think that anything is wrong with them. And especially, I didn't even get in the aspect of our cultural things, like especially in American society, culturally, like when you look at things of, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a woman being independent and getting money and doing the things that she's supposed to do, but let's not misconstrue the position of a man in your life and what he's supposed to do when he steps in too. So like you can't, there's a balance in that, because I think that people go so far and they're like, oh, well, you can't tell me nothing because this and this and that. And then you find that the two are competing against each other. And that's not
Right.
supposed to be. You're not supposed to be competing,
No
because
competition.
you're not even like you're not him and he's not you. A man can't be a woman and a woman can't be a man. He is who he is and you are who you are. Play your position. Both of y'all play your position. That is crazy. That's bananas to me.
Do you think that position has been compromised?
Well, I think that people need to I don't think that it's been compromised. I think that there has been a lot of teachings that people have adapted to that are that aren't um that aren't promoting that's not promoting unity within the home between male and female um counterparts.
Right.
Okay, that's what I believe is taking place. It doesn't. It's not even the fact, even if a woman made more money than her husband, okay, it that doesn't make him less of a man.
Mm.
Um, it's the fact that he's working, because that is a man's duty. He is supposed to work. He is supposed to provide. So her being doesn't mean that she is the breadwinner just because you got more money than him. No, that means y'all need to maneuver something to make investments together. Because if you are, and see, some people may not agree with me, but I understood. I know when it says that two become one flesh. Why are y'all arguing about money? If y'all won, isn't everything in y'all home together? Because I, I mean, I don't understand this, and that's the thing right there. People aren't willing to let go, and that's a part of submitting to each other too.
Right.
People aren't willing to let go of their individual lives that they had before they met this person. You can't come in to a relationship single. No, you got to surrender those things, because if you're becoming one and you're building a life together, ain't no this is mine and this is yours. I'm gonna write my name on the Kool-Aid. You can't touch it. Oh, this orange juice is mine. What? But y'all share a bed together and she about to birth your children? Are you kidding me? And you about to birth his children? Like what? Yeah, love is not selfish.
Love is not selfish.
No, it's not. It doesn't think of itself. So you tell me, if somebody ain't surrendered in those areas, there's a problem, and no wonder your relationship is jacked up, because neither one
So
of them is surrendering to each other. They want to do what they want to do instead of build together.
so marriage is precipitated on basically this team concept that our whatever we have is ours, and there shouldn't be one person has this is yours, this is mine, and we're just gonna be like this in the marriage. Instead, it
Right,
should be like,
right. Because
yeah,
absolutely, like a man going to work, he should be like, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my household to be good. So he shouldn't treat her less than him. He should treat her and in a loving way. Like he should be like, this is, this is mine. This we're building. This is for us. Like it shouldn't be
mhm.
like, oh well, I'm doing this. Like out of like, oh well, I'm doing this. I'm like boastful. Like no, mm-mm. Like no, 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 no.
What do you feel
Let's
about a
pull
man
together.
saying? What do you feel about a man saying this is my house?
No, it's y'all house.
Is
Why would
y'all?
you make her feel? Why would you make your woman feel ostracized from something that you asked her to join you in? Like what? Are you kidding me?
Somebody,
That's
this is a
selfish.
weird ass. This is a weird ass question. I just want to ask you this because somebody told me to ask you. Um,
You're laughing. What is it?
yeah, because it's weird as I mean, shout out to Laquan. You know what I'm saying? He wants to know what's your favorite TV show.
What's my favorite TV show?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It changes. So right now, I hate to say it,
Hey, it's your opinion. Shit. Say what's on
but
your
it
mind.
is because I watch it. So, and it's Power. And I'm about to tell you, like the writer is really intelligent, okay? And when I say this, is because like this last episode too, it was
Don't,
genius.
yeah, don't tell me because I ain't watched it yet. But go
I'm
ahead.
not gonna tell you, but I look
No
at, because
spoilers.
I watch a lot of movies, and
Right.
so um I pay attention to writings. Like
Right.
I watch, like I used to love True Blood. I don't know if you ever watched that. It's vampires. Um, so we all like,
Yeah,
different
the
things.
vampire. Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, I used to be into True Blood real deep. Um, so like, um, and then I watch what's that LeBron James show? Something remorse.
I'm not sure. Oh yeah, yeah. Survivor's Remorse with Mike Epps.
Yeah, Survivor's Remorse. And as I'm about to look and see who the writers are because they're starting to have the same parallel as like how like the writers jokes and intricacies is like the writers from True Blood. So I'm thinking some of the writers came on board because it's similar. Just like when I listen to music, I'll know who the producer is because I'm used to sound. Like in
Right.
certain producers have certain sounds, just like certain writers have certain writer styles. So like, yeah, I enjoy Power though. Yeah, so that's for sure for right now.
Oh, okay. That I guess that answered that question. I mean, like goodness. But I think we've been on here for a minute. You know what I mean? I got the Jimmy doll on here chopping it up. You know what I mean? This has been a the chat has definitely been live tonight. You know, I appreciate all you guys tuning in tonight. You know what I mean? Um, a lot of people thinking that they thinking you pulling matrix moves up in here, but it's all good.
With the
You know what I mean?
Matrix move.
I don't know, man. They think you pulling matrix moves up in here. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. You know what I mean? But this has been a good chat. You know, I hope all you guys liked it. You know what I mean? We've been talking for a minute. You know, I appreciate Jimmy coming on. You know, on short notice and things like that. You know, definitely got an opinion. You know, from a woman on these issues, these contemporary issues we have going on, especially within the Black community. So, you know, if anybody else, if no one has any, I'm looking in the chat. If no one has any questions,
Oh, you
further
know what,
questions,
JR? I had lost my train of thought and it just came to me. And
so
this is probably something that I probably needed to say. You know how when you asked the question, you said, "How long is it gonna go on without like people being healed or whatever?" Like in the man and female relationship, as far as like
right,
the trust and the different things of people pointing their fingers and saying, "You're accountable. You're accountable. Are you gonna be accountable?" Well, first of all, too, if someone doesn't see that they're sick, like if they think that this is normal, like or they think that certain things are normal, they're not going to be healed. They're not going to want to even go to get healed because they think that they're okay, even though they're hurting, even though they see that they're damaged, but they don't think they're damaged. So why would they go get a solution? They don't think anything's wrong with them because of their ego, pride,
right, most definitely. And
So
that's, I mean, that's how it is. You know, people don't want to get help. They don't want to. It's that, what is it called? Cognitive dissonance. Comes at them with something that challenges their perspective or their perception of who it is that they are. You know what I
hmm
mean? So, you know, it is what it is. But you know, we don't want to keep it going. You know, I appreciate you. You know, if no one else has any more questions for Jimmy, which I don't see any more questions, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe and all that good stuff. You got any you know, you wanna promote your social media, anything like that, Jimmy? Any parting
nah,
words?
no, not at the moment. Not at
Okay, that's cool too. You
the
know, you know, but you know, I appreciate you know, Jimmy tuning in, you know, on the hangout this evening. Hopefully you guys got some good information, regardless of, you know, whatever. Look at it objectively and not from a standpoint from further, you know, from previous chats and stuff like that. hopefully you guys got something out of it. You learned something. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I know Jimmy didn't want to shout hers out, so that's cool too. But you know, check out my. I think Char Willie, she was posting the link for the Teespring. Make sure you guys get your t-shirts. Shout out to everybody who donated tonight in the super chat. If you got any questions or any topics you'd like me to discuss, my email is in the description. Hit me up. I'll have answering those questions. I'm pretty sure me and Jimmy, we're probably gonna be doing another chat soon. So because she's sounds like she's heavily on the religious stuff. So that probably could have went on and on. So you know all that good stuff. Make sure you guys, if you want to, hit up the Well of Wisdom as well. And remember, anything lost can be found again except for time wasted. Peace be upon you all, and the mercy and blessings of the Almighty. I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys on the next chat. So, you know, peace. I appreciate it. Shout out to Jimmy for tuning in tonight. I mean, for joining the chat, and shout out to everybody for tuning in tonight. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a good night. I'm out. Peace.